Welcome to Spirits of Whiskey. We explore the wide world of whiskey through the many colorful personalities who make it, promote it, write about it, and more.
With each podcast, Kerry Moynahan, a certified bourbon steward and bartender, and yours truly, Philip Dobard, director of the cocktail collection, interview whiskey's most important names.
From high-profile makers, blenders, and ambassadors,
to out-of-the-way innovators and remote pioneers.
Join us as we discover the people and elements that give the water of life its spirit. It is Whiskey Wednesday, August 18th, 2021, and you're watching episode 50. Today we speak with Joe Beatrice, founder of Barrell Craft Spirits and Stellum Spirits.
We have the good fortune of having with us Mr. Joe Beatrice, founder at Barrell Craft Spirits, but now Stellum Spirits in Louisville, Kentucky. Welcome back, Joe.
Yes, welcome back, Joe.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
We say welcome back because you were a featured guest in our first season, a highly rated, a very popular, in fact, the most popular episode of season 1 of Spirits of Whiskey.
Yes, that's episode 20 for those of you who'd like to know. Episode 20.
Who knew? Joe, thank you.
Yes. So, Joe, we heard from Aaron, who's our beautiful PR guy who always lets us know when you've got something.
Aaron Brost, for the benefit of our listeners and viewers.
And he always lets us know when you have something new going on. And we were sent these lovely sample bottles of not just a new expression, but of a new brand. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, nothing like jumping right in.
Okay, so Joe was he was an internet entrepreneur when no one else was back in the 90s. He brewed beer at home. He got into whiskey, and now he runs an expanding empire in Louisville, Kentucky. There, okay.
Now that's a really good intro.
Yeah, right.
So, I was thinking about Stellum, obviously, and I was thinking about how, it's obviously some space themes. The name is derived from the Latin word stellum stellium for star groups or cluster. Then I started thinking about Elon Musk, whose mission in life is to save humanity. And, our mission is just to make some good whiskey. It's a little more modest. So here we are. Anyway, so Stellum is this is a product it's a new brand that has been in several years in the making. We've been thinking about this brand for a long time and started acquiring barrels and building up an inventory of barrels for this brand. Part of what we do successfully, I think, is that we watch the market, we listen to the market, we're inspired and led by the market. So we look at and listen to and see what people like and respond to that in our own way. And that's reflected in our blending and sort of our changing profiles of the blends that we make. This product, this brand, we refer to it as a modern brand that reflects the modern drinker. And I think that that's a really important distinction to make. And how it fits in with Barrell Craft Spirits, we can talk more about. But the Stellum brand is really focused on the world of this modern bourbon drinker that we call it, which is a very wide demographic. It's very diverse. It's very inclusive. It is not the typical profile of the what you think of as the contemporary bourbon drinker. It's evolved. And over the last 5 and 6 years, there's been a huge influx of new drinkers into the bourbon category. Right. And it's skewed very young. So there's a lot of younger drinkers in here. And also, along with this new drinker is they're more demanding. They're more demanding in what they're drinking. They want to know more about it. They want to know. Everybody is more concerned about what they put in their body, and so it's also sort of different profiles, different flavors. We talk about the product in a slightly different way. If you look at the bottle, which is a little different from your sample bottle, it's pared down. It's simple. It's minimal. It's a minimalist design. It's straightforward. And again, we let the bourbon be the hero in the bottle by putting the label on color. And it's also been the change, the difference has been reflected in the flavor profile. It's simpler, it's nuanced, it's rich, it's straightforward. It is complex, but contrast to Barrell Craft Spirits, which has more layers. Essentially, there definitely is a difference in the product profile and the makeup. And what we're seeking to do with Stellum is it is a profile that we're going to blend over and over again. So the bourbon and the rye are going to be consistent products. We're not doing it in batches. There'll be minute variations as there are anyway, and we're constantly refining. So over time, the flavor will evolve a little bit.
So whereas the Barrell Craft is very much designed to be one and done, once that taste is gone, it's gone. Because you aim at and achieve singular profiles, and once it's gone, it's gone. Move on to the next. But with Stellum, you are by design you are seeking a measure of consistency, a comparative measure of consistency.
Once again, that's very accurate. You really sum up things nicely. I have to give you credit. You really.
And then on top of that, with his radio voice, right? So
on the radio voice, I'm drawn in. I'm ready to sign up. I'm
Subscribe now.
You know,
okay.
we're leasing Philip out for a small fee.
Yes, Philip on loan out. But package design, that bottle. Does that bottle remind you of something, Kerry?
It reminds me of a Pappy Van Winkle bottle. Nice, slim, simple, and yeah. Are we right there, Joe?
Actually, it is the same glass that they use.
Ah, okay.
What's inside is a little bit different, but it is the same glass.
Yeah,
I know what's inside is different.
We're accustomed to your Barrell Craft bottles, which are broad-shouldered. Do you have one of those handy you can hold up to the camera?
Yes. I always love that. I kept the one you sent us for Christmas is now on display at my house.
Oh yes, the New Year blend, the annual New Year release.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that. By the way, that's that is a blessed whiskey.
It didn't last long, I must tell you.
You know, that's sort of how I notice things like that in my house, in my office. I have a couple bottles behind me, and as I'm doing, because when I work from home parts of the day, or at night, and I notice when I'm on Zoom. We're on Zoom 24/7, and I notice the volume of the bottles going down at different rates. and it is two bottles that I've noticed that have one. I actually drank a bottle of the Stellum in under a month, that's pretty aggressive for me. And Armida is also this just hits the right flavor notes for me. That one just keeps going like this.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, yes, those are our package notes. But it is a big contrast. But we wanted to pick up some of the things that we knew, the simplicity, highlighting the bourbon again, clarity in the label and what's in it. It's very straightforward. It is what you see in the bottle is what you're going to be drinking.
This is at a lower price point than the Barrell Craft as well?
Yes. The MSRP on the Stellum batches, on the Stellum product, as well as the single barrels, are somewhere between 55 and 59, depending upon the market.
So not exactly the ready rack. But
good. We don't want it on the ready rack.
but easier for a bartender to manipulate.
Yes, it is definitely that's definitely true.
Am I going to assume that the color of the label is because of the whole star part, or is that something else?
Like a star field?
Okay.
Yeah, it is. And then I should show you the rye label is green. Can you see it? I can't tell if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
So the rye is green, and
for grass.
For traditional rye. Stellum Bourbon won a double gold in San Francisco. No, I'm sorry. Stellum Bourbon won a gold, and rye won a double gold.
Fantastic! Congratulations.
And thanks. And with BCS, we won 14 gold and double gold medals.
That's wonderful.
And won best bourbon under up to 5 years old and best overproof rum.
Yeah. Well, San Francisco is certainly, it's considered certainly one of the gold standards in competition circles. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we like it because it's a blind competition, and their process. They have a true blind, double blind competition with the judges are all really good, and so it is one of the two or three that we four, and I guess now that we enter in. Well, Fred Minnick added a new competition this year.
He did.
Yeah, so that was the new one.
We still need to get Fred on the show. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we need to get
absolutely.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah. So we're excited about that. So we're having a good year. Plus our sales are phenomenal on both.
Oh, that's wonderful, because everyone was just shitting bricks a year ago. To put it plainly, no one knew, because direct to consumer was illegal in most states still, and things have been liberalized. Those regulations have been liberalized in very rapidly, particularly for how slowly legislation and regulation changes in this country. It's a new frontier. This is wonderful. I mean, this is, if there's a silver lining for the spirits industry, this is it.
It's funny you mentioned that, because we were just looking at where we were sitting a year ago, and April was 2020 was not a good month, and then once May started, we just started taking off, and we didn't look back. Our sales more than doubled last year.
Wow.
And we're looking at right now, we're sitting at a 400% increase over that. So we're growing pretty rapidly. But who knew? You're absolutely right. Who knew? I mean, we were doing disaster scenario projections just to see. But
Joe, I've definitely noticed your bottles in more and more stores. I've gone places and I was like, even the smallest rinky-dinkiest little liquor store, I was like, oh wow, they have Joe's stuff here. And like I go up to the counter and I'm like, I know the owner of this. I know the guy who makes this. And they're like, what? Really? That's so cool.
That's so great to hear. I love hearing that. It makes us feel really good when we see it out there in the market. And we're still a tiny company. We just hired a few people. We have 28 people from production through sales. That's it. And we have 5 salespeople, led by Will Shregas, their chief sales officer and chief innovation officer. And, we're a small company, and they work really hard. And they got it out there, but yeah, it's,
well, I think we should taste what they've been working hard to make.
I think so too.
Already started, but.
Oh, okay. Well,
thumbs up on the bourbon.
So are we going to go bourbon first? Okay.
I don't know. Practically everyone. I don't know that we've
doing this alphabetical bourbon before rye.
I don't know that. Yeah, that's what I don't know that we've had a guest responsible for both bourbon and rye who has led us to the rye first. There might have been one.
We can do the rye first.
We did know there was one. We did.
The rye.
Was it Pinhorse? No, it wasn't Pinhorse. It was it was Wheelhorse. Wheelhorse.
Jacob Call. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually. Well,
it was Jacob and Terry.
His name? Yes, Terry was the one who led us, though. He was the one who said,
"All right, got it.
Let's do that." Right.
Terry Lossoff for our listeners. Yeah.
Interesting. I think we can go in a direction. I tend to do the bourbon first, because the rye might overpower the bourbon a little bit in terms of the. But you do have rye, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we have the bourbon and the rye. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's got a lovely nose.
Now, just as the case with Barrell Craft, these are cask strength.
Correct. Yes.
Wow. I think that's got a very rounded flavor.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
It's got a beautiful finish. It's a hot finish, but it's not like you don't want it to be hot. It's like an appropriate level of hotness at the end.
Yeah, it follows a fantastic palate. There's nothing worse than when you have this high long burn following something that didn't taste like much.
Yeah, we tend to engineer. We tend to blend. Engineer is probably the wrong word. We blend. We're very conscious of the ride of the from the color to the nose, the entry to the mid palate, and then the finish. And we try to give you something different in each one of those areas, and something appropriate. With the exception of some of the hazmat Canadian rye barrels, which are those are almost too much for me to drink.
Hazmat, in that you need a protective suit to
Yeah, so, yeah,
to, to survive them.
Over 100.
Okay,
Really
I just drank the wrong one, guys. That was the rye I was talking about.
Maybe the bourbon not
the
so much.
colors are so similar, but I loved it. This is a fantastic rye. So let me go back to the bourbon now.
Yeah, I think that with the bourbon, what I really like about this is I love when it first hits the tip of your tongue. I love that honeysuckle, macadamia nut, marshmallow notes that are there, and then it really plays nicely over the mid palate. There's a bit of ginger, and then I think of the black pepper coming in a little bit later, which I think is there. Plus all the traditional everything you'd expect with the baking spices. But I think that a couple of really nice notes pop through to me.
Yeah.
This is it's nice
agree.
and smooth. It's got beautiful legs on here. It's got a great mouthfeel.
Yeah, I modeled for the legs.
Ah, very nice. You're a regular Betty Grable.
That's me. like only two people in the world will know what reference that is, but
they both served in World War II. Little pinup history. And I just tasted the rye, and wow.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Okay, I need to open the rye because I don't have a bottle.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Get with it.
Yeah, I'm loving this rye.
Get with the program. He found an open
bourbon
rye.
The bourbon is delicious. I like that the bourbon is not hot, by the way. I was talking about the rye.
And I was talking about I was talking about the bourbon. It has some heat on the finish, but it's satisfying after that.
It's not
that rich palate. No,
it's not the heat that I get on the rye, but the rye. I could probably drink this all day, but I have things to do, so I can't do that.
Well, you have to become a professional and do it for a living,
right? I've been thinking about that.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful, Joe.
Thank you. I do like the rye.
Jolton Joe, you've hit it out of the park.
Thank you. So
there's another reference two people will get.
Yeah. So the rye is the core of it is Indiana 95, the MGP, 95% rye. Mm-hmm. But what we've blended with this are both Kentucky and Tennessee ryes.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And so we use that to balance out the different aspects of it, because I think that, I think we were talking about it before. I think that MGP 21% rye is the standard. I mean, I think it is an exceptional rye. And so, we want to do something a little bit different with it. And, we're blenders. That's what we do all day long. And so by adding those other components with the different mash bills, really sort of, I think, rounds it out a little bit, but doesn't lose the bones to the MGP rye.
You've just segued to my next question, which is bit of a background and some sidebar. When we spoke the first time, we talked about the curatorial role you play in sourcing what you believe are the best and most blendable whiskeys available on the sourced market, as it were, and then working your magic on those whiskeys. Is Stellum selected from the same array of what's available to you?
We started really planning this product years ago, and so we started building our inventory of barrels that we knew that would intersect the market at this time we wanted them. So we bought younger, and then some younger barrels, and we bought some other ones that are older. So so we did. They are sourced from some of the same places, and like with anything else, we're not afraid to add older product to this to give it whatever profile we're looking for. So the short answer is yes, and then more. We have access to a lot of the same barrels that other places have.
Of course, yeah.
And it really comes down to what you do with the barrels.
Exactly.
And so we spend a lot of time with the barrels, sorting them, categorizing them, putting them in different groupings, and then blending in the lab. We do hundreds for anything that we do. We'll do hundreds of different blends. We'll sort barrels, put hundreds of blends together, and then start refining. And so that that process is one. That is the thing that we do, the blending. And so we spend a lot of time. We can spend weeks with doing refining blends until we get it to exactly the way we want it. And I don't think that we talked about this, but just sort of quick recap of our process. So in the lab, which is where I'm sitting, we do those blends. And once we have a final blend, we then know, because we track it as we're going through it, which barrels are in there and what proportion of barrels are in there and which proportion of the total different types of barrels are in there.
Right.
Then we go out to our big tanks. We bring in all the appropriate barrels, and then we process them through. We then, if it's 100 of these, 50 of these, 3 of these, we start with 50% of the total. Because even though we have something in the lab, in the theoretical, the practical in the real world doesn't always line up.
It's like batching cocktails. You can't assume that 2 to 1 in a glass is 2 to 1 in a punch bowl.
Right.
Which we've already established that I am not a good bartender. I am willing to concede that, but I do have one. I can't wait to tell you one cocktail I want to tell you about later.
Oh, good. Okay. All right.
Okay. And so then once we go out, we blend about 50% of the volume, 60%, and we taste, 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 and then we inch our way up to the total volume, because we're always making last minute adjustments, and it's generally it comes down to almost always the final 10% volume. That so if it's 6,000 gallons, it's 600 gallons. The total is 6,600 gallons we're playing with, and then we inch our way up to the final blend out in the big tanks.
Smart.
And we have we have a couple of 6,000 gallon tanks up there with very large agitators, slow moving agitators that turn the contents of the tank over, and then we taste it. We taste it ongoing, but we usually, when it's agitated and when we dump in barrels, it's angry. Mm-hmm. And so we have to let it get calm down.
You can throw some laundry in because of the agitator. That and the alcohol will clean things right up.
True. Oh yeah, those agitators are right out of a James Bond movie. They're so scary looking. There are 3 sets of propellers in there of different sizes, at different angles, and they're massive. They just
speaking of things in your
expect you to blend.
Speaking of all these fascinating things in your warehouse and well, not warehouse, it's a processing center. Are you able to show us any of those things today?
Sure.
Yeah, you're sitting there in the lab and we're like, there must be more.
Yes, I just hope you don't get seasick. But if I turn around, you can see our bottling facility. We have 3 bottling lines going right now. This was a data facility. That was the server room.
Wow, that's a big server room.
Yeah, so we have the most climate-controlled bottling facility in the world.
Nice.
There's 3 gigantic air handlers there.
Wow! And being an internet entrepreneur, you must feel right at home.
Yes, I do. Okay, let me run out here.
Well, this is like the Blair Witch project. This is wonderful.
This is not near as shaky.
Remind me to send you my Blair Witch Project video I made.
Oh no. That'd be awesome. We could post it with this if you want.
I will send it to you. So this is where let me see if I can get it. So these barrels that are here are about to be dumped in here. So this is our dump drop, so that no humans have to pick up barrels. We lay them down, pull out the bungs, and dump them.
Mm.
Great.
And then we have multiple tanks, but these are the two primary ones we start. These are two 6,000-gallon tanks we had made with
I
all
love
kinds
that
of
the tanks are
proprietary things in
branded.
there.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, we thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah. Very.
And so the whiskey goes in there, and then we can transfer it's getting a little shaky now. We can transfer back and forth
Mhm.
Between the tanks. We have different agitation. We had some proprietary methodologies built into what we're doing in terms of how we process things. Anyway, so that's where I spend my day.
Mhm.
Very cool.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
is.
Is there a tasting room there as well? Can people visit?
Well, I'll show you that. We don't do any, let me see. We have samples. We have a couple of sample rooms. But we have a tasting room that we do for single barrel picks. But since COVID, we haven't had anybody.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're so out of space until we expand a little bit more. We're going to repurpose this until we use it. But this is our tasting room where we would bring groups in.
It's really cute.
That's something that will return at some point.
I think so. I think we're targeting. We're going to do. We do these large events with our distributors and certain key retailers, and we do like a 3-day event here. And I think we're shooting for September. Everything goes well. We'll do that again. But we have our single barrel program for Barrell Craft Spirits is extensive, but for Stellum, it is an incredibly sophisticated, built-out system. So alongside the regular Stellum Bourbon and Rye, we're doing single barrel bourbon and rye as well. It'd be price point the same, and so we're selling a lot of single barrels, and it's customized for the different groups or the stores, the distributor, whoever. But it's a pretty ambitious single barrel program. But we've got it down. We have a little bit of practice in how to do it.
And it's at the same price point as the standard issue. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We're able to blend it all. It works. The economics work for us. So it's okay. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, Joe, you've done it again. These are absolutely amazing. I'm going to have to get myself a full size, at least of the rye, because it's good stuff.
So there's a cocktail.
Yes, let's hear about this cocktail.
You have a cocktail to tell.
Yes. So the reason that I can make this is because I can remember the proportions.
All right. That's a thing.
4 ingredients. So it's a paper plane. But it's made with Armida. Now, if I really thought about this, I could have come up with the cocktail for Stellum, since we're talking about Stellum. But I was so excited about this because it's something I can actually do. 25% fresh squeezed lemon juice.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a lot.
25% Amaro, Nonino Amaro.
Okay.
Has to be that.
Okay.
25% Aperol.
Okay.
Oh.
And 25% this.
Okay. All right. So two Amari of very different kinds.
Yes.
One a jolt of acid, and the whiskey. And what's the strength on the Armida?
This is 113 and a half.
Okay.
Wow.
And so one of the things, and you shake it in a cocktail shaker, and you're supposed to drink it, in a coupe glass, I guess. And the reason I like it so much is the finish. Aside from being like really nicely balanced, you get the pear just for some reason, the way it all works together, the pear is really elevated and comes through nicely. So I really like the cocktail. And then,
How often do you make it?
well, I try not to do it more than once a week now. When I first found it was like every day for like 3 days. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
He didn't say he's successful. He tries for once a week.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, next time you make it, you'll have to send us a photo so we can throw that in right here.
Yeah.
And so here's the next part of it that I figured out. I like it so much and it's so strong. I wanted to drink it that I said, what happens if we put this in tonic water? Add tonic water. And it worked.
Yeah. Fizzy. Absolutely.
It was the weather here is this time of the year. You know how when you see things about the moon, when the moon, it's like if you're in the sun, it's 2,000 degrees, and if you're in shade, it's negative 2,000 degrees. That's how it is here. You go outside in the sun, it is hot. Yeah. Then you had a tree and it's freezing. So I don't know. I don't quite understand.
Yeah. What's the high there today? Maybe 85?
I think it's something like that. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't been outside all day, so I've been cooped up in here.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right.
So I was drinking it, and I used 25% of the cocktail in a 75% of the tonic, and it was so refreshing. I mean, it was. I don't know. It's a new.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, sure. My favorite cocktails tend to be, and again, because they're memorable, technically speaking, is 1-to-1, 1-to-1-to-1. 1-to-1-to-1-to-1, like the Boulevardier, 1-to-1-to-1. I'm in. Okay, and then you can change out one thing for another if it's in the same family. So yeah. Well done. I can taste it already.
Well, I would definitely love to get a photo of both versions next time you create them, and we'll pop them in here, and we'll put the recipe up. So
I will do it.
I have another question.
Yes.
What's next?
Yes.
To the extent you can tell us, what's next?
This year we're executing our plan. So this year we launched Seagrass in March, which had a really great went well, and we're focusing on Stellum right now. So Stellum, and it's not at the expense of anything else we do. So Barrell Craft Spirits is traveling on its own curve, which was driving all the phenomenal growth. So we're still going to do that. We have a couple more. So we just finished blending batch 29 yesterday. So this year we'll have 29, 30, 31 coming out. We'll do a new year. BCS are this one, the gray label bottle that comes in the black box.
Okay.
This one first year we did a whiskey, rum, and bourbon. Last year we just did bourbon. This year we are going to do all three. Mm-hmm. We have a couple of surprises, I think, for the whiskey. We'll see. We're starting to blend that one. That one's going to be fun.
Yeah, rum. That's right. We talked about hosting you on Spirits of Rum once that's up and running. Because you do rum. Yeah.
We have a couple of interesting rum things. In fact, there was one did I mention that already? That we won the best overproof rum? Yeah, okay. And that was with one of our rum private releases. And then we have then with Stellum, it is really just we're in production mode on that, and we're in single barrel. So this year we're executing our plan. It's all the other products, Dovetail, Armida, Seagrass, all traveling. And then private release bourbon, whiskey, and rum. So that occupies a lot of our attention because we do them in groups of 48 different finishes.
Oh, wow.
And we have, and so whether we finish the cask or whether it's a cask, a specific cask, we then will, if it's a rum, we blend the different percentages of rum, then do the finishes. The whiskey, same concept, different blended whiskeys. The bourbon, our private release bourbon, it's really handy that I'm here because we have all the bottles in here, and I don't usually have
them. And your chair has wheels.
I might. Isn't this like an internet cafe kind of?
Kind of, yeah.
Well, it's my kind of internet cafe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like we're in could be in Berlin.
Yeah, just put another quarter in the server. Yes. Yeah, that'll be like an Eastern European internet cafe.
Yeah, but then I'm not wearing a black leather jacket, so
yes, and ironed hair.
Well, that ship sailed. I'm just trying to.
My compliments to your stylist.
Keep the glare down on my head.
Yeah, we did a shoot once, and Philip said, "You didn't tell me my head was shiny," and I'm like, "Well, we didn't have a makeup person, so what was I supposed to do about it?"
You know, the one time that actually happened when we won that award and Forbes did an article. They came in to do a photo shoot, and I am not kidding. Somebody came in with makeup, and they were like,
"Yep, it's a thing.
It is a thing.
It's like a bounce." Yeah, what's called a bounce. Yeah, light bounce. Anyway, bounce. Yes.
So that's the private release bourbon. So the difference between the private release bourbons, while Armida is a bourbon with a finish, we're clear that it's a bourbon with a finish. This is a private release bourbon that does not have any finish. And what distinguishes this is it's a blend of different ages, and we put the percentages in there, so you can really see what it's like. And this particular one is 5% 5 year, 60% 9, 20% 13, and 15% 15. Wow. So that's this bottle. And so we're going to spend a lot of time producing the private releases this year.
Can you tell us about Seagrass, because that was not out when we first spoke?
Yes. So this was a product that we had a name for it, but we had the product, but we knew that we wanted to do something with a rye with it. Just seemed right. It just felt right. And so this is a blend of different ryes some of it is the rye directly in the finishing cask, and some of it is blended rye that then goes into the finishing cask. So there's different groupings of the rye that goes into the finishing cask. And there's 3 different finishing casks. One is Agricole from Martinique.
Hence the grass.
Apricot Brandy. Yeah. Apricot Brandy. Excuse me. And Madeira.
Oh, wow. Where's the Apricot Brandy from? What part of the world?
The apricot?
Yeah, the Apricot Brandy. What part of the world is it from?
It is a combination of, it's domestic. It's mainly domestic.
Okay.
And I want to say French.
Just curious. Yeah.
I have to really think about that.
It's okay.
I have to, you're taxing my little brain.
That's what we're here for. That's our job.
Yeah. And yes. And then so with the Apricot Brandy, we're finishing the cask.
Okay.
That's
beautiful.
Then dump out the excess. And it's sort of an interesting combination, because this one evolved out of dozens of different combinations. And we actually played around, played around with all 4 styles of Madeira and ended up with a Social here, because the dryness of that really worked with the sweetness of the Apricot Brandy. And it just all came together. I mean, this is, if you were to taste it, maybe we can get you some.
All right. Yeah. hold up that label again so we can see. Yeah.
I love the colors on it.
After seeing that label, I think we're blue-green with envy.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
No fruit is too long hanging for me to pluck. Okay. All right. I'm done. All right. Anything else, Kerry?
Well, Joe, this has been fantastic. As always, you've produced a lovely bourbon and a lovely rye, and I'm so excited to watch the new brand take off. And I wish you luck with it, and I can't wait to see all these things that you have coming in the new year.
It should be a shooting Stellum.
Ha ha ha!
Wait,
he never stops. He never stops.
There's no off switch. Anyway, this has been a delight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed the time with you guys.
Likewise. For show notes on today's podcast, please visit our website at spiritsofwhiskey.com. That's whiskey with an E.
We'll include links and supporting documents from today's stories in this episode's blog post.
As always, you'll see upcoming topics, a guest roster, and links to past shows.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time,
Sláinte.
Spirits of Whiskey is produced by First Reel Entertainment and the Center for Culinary Culture, home of the Cocktail Collection, and is available via Anchor, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever fine podcasts are heard.